Welcome back to College 101 here on the College Guide. Today is going to be our last personal finance topic for a while. I promise we're going to get to the content about college life that you've been looking for, but today's topic is another one that I find really important to have a handle on and an understanding of for college. Today we're going to be talking about how to make a personal budget to try and keep to while you're in college. If you guys already have something that works for you, please write it down in the comments so that people can learn from what you do that works. If you've got questions about a budget, or you feel like this is just something you can't do in college, please write a comment and let people know so that they can help you understand what will be a solution for you in college. That's totally separate from what your budget will be while you're in college. College is sort of a weird time when you've got this sort of full-time job that doesn't pay you anything. In fact, you pay a lot of money to go to college and spend 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week learning and preparing for your career. But it does make it hard to budget and to feel like you're in control of your financial situation. However, by the end of this video, I'm hoping that you'll be able to see that you can feel in control and make some deliberate decisions that will help you be where you want to be and build some good habits for once you're graduated from college as well. There are two halves to budgeting that I want to talk about. The first one is pretty simple. All it is keep track of all your expenses. I'm pretty old-fashioned, so all I do is I have an Excel spreadsheet where I keep track of the date of the purchase, what it was for, and a category I can put it in. And then I sum up each category to see how much I spent in that category. And then I also have a total net income for the month, which is hopefully usually positive. The categories I use are things like housing, utilities, gas, food, miscellaneous. Some of those same categories that we used when we built out that budget 2 videos ago. It is important that when you're tracking your expenses, you check everywhere. Keep every receipt, or check every credit card or debit card, check your bank accounts, check your Amazon account, check all these different places. The worst thing you can do when you're trying to follow a budget is line out this budget and know how much you can spend and then leave out some expenses, because then you'll think you're doing really well when really you just aren't logging everything. If you want to be a little more automated or a little more 21st century, there are lots of apps and programs that you can use to help you track your budget and expenses. The one I've heard the most about, but I've never personally used, is You Need a Budget, YNAB. I've heard lots of really good things about it. The thing that I think would make it hard, especially for a college student, is that it's what's called a zero-based budget. The idea is that at the end of the month, your expenses or your budget tracking should always read 0. You should not have any money left over because you should have assigned it somewhere, and you definitely shouldn't be in the hole because you shouldn't have overspent anywhere. As a college student, you may not be able to work full-time, or you're not making as much as you will once you're graduated, so it can be really hard to say every month that you should only spend as much as you make. Personally, when I was in college, the way I tried to do things was cover as many of my living expenses as I could during the school year, but really I just tried to work a lot during the summers and save that money so I had money in my bank account to draw down throughout the year. If you do decide to give the app a try, it does cost a little bit of money. Right now it's $84 a year or $12 a month. Again, I always prefer to go the free route if I can, and building out a spreadsheet isn't all that complicated. I can post a picture here and show you guys what mine looks like, and a couple of the formulas that I use in order to do all the automated summing and tracking. So tracking is a great place to start with a budget, but it's not everything. The next step is where you get to take control of your budget. You get to make decisions about how you want to spend your money, to a certain extent. There's always going to be limits on how cheap you can make your rent, or how much things are going to cost like groceries and gas. But by building out a budget, you at least see it and hopefully realize where you can make changes. So the first step of making a budget is to list all your fixed expenses. Fixed expenses are simply those expenses where you can ask the question, how much does this cost? And there's a definite answer that's the same every single month. Those are things like rent, car payments, insurance bills, phone bills, possibly utilities depending on where you live. These are the ones that are easiest to keep track of and should be the same from month to month. You could even take your tuition and fees and break those out across the semester if you really want to see how much you're spending on average over the course of a semester or a school year. Step 2 is to list all of your variable expenses. These are things like groceries, gas, entertainment, where it's not exactly the same every month, and there can even be a wide range of variability. The goal of your budget should be that they should all stay relatively close to a number, and when they go far outside, you'll be able to see how it affects your overall monthly budget. So while it may be hard to assign it a specific number, you need to make your best estimate. If you really have no idea where to start, you can start by tracking your budget for a couple months and looking at those numbers, taking an average and using those. Step 3 is to list your income streams. This is simply just all the places that you have money coming in. This will typically be a part-time or full-time job while you're in college. Your hours are hopefully pretty stable within a certain range, and so you can make a best estimate. If you are just estimating, I would definitely recommend that you stay on the conservative side. If you work 16 to 20 hours a week, maybe only put in 16 or 18 hours. Don't bank on that 20 hours every week. This is important because when you're building a budget, you don't want to assume you're going to have more money than you have and then go spend it, because it's so much easier to spend money that you don't think you have than it is to save money you don't have. All right, break time. Where do you go fishing for money? In the income stream. If you found these videos helpful, or you really enjoy puns, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. If you absolutely detest these puns still, you can always subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you won't miss a single video to come and let me know how disgusted you are. Back to it. Step 4 is to add in a margin for savings. And you might be saying, I'm in college, I don't have room to save money. The important thing is that it's a great time to build strong habits for yourself. Even if this is a margin that you're saving during the summer, and then during the school year, you have a harder time doing that savings, it's always important to pay yourself first, which is what savings really are. This will also build a good habit that you can save even when times are hard. It may be 10 or 20 bucks a pay period right now while you're in school. It may be more, it may be less. But just the act of making that decision to take money and put it somewhere is very valuable. I also think it's very important as a college student to have a small emergency fund. I'm not talking about $10,000 or $20,000, but something that is enough to cover a plane ticket home if you're far from home and there is a family emergency, or if you depend on a car to get you to school or to a job, enough to do a repair on a car. Having this emergency fund will help give you a little more security that if something unexpected comes up, it's not going to wreck your life. This was so important to my wife, she actually ended up taking out a small student loan, even though she had enough money in her bank account to pay for that semester of school. She did this because she'd rather have a student loan that she could pay off pretty quickly once she graduated than to live paycheck to paycheck and have that stress and fear of something bad happening unexpectedly. Step 5 is to evaluate. This is where you look at how much you think you're going to spend in each of these categories and how much you're going to make, and look at that final number, positive or negative, and see how comfortable you are with it. I know there are some things like tuition and fees you can't really change, especially if you're already out of school and you're already in the middle of a program, but there are some things you can change. You might look at that number and say, wow, I didn't realize how much money I'm losing every month. I'm going to move somewhere cheaper. I'm going to go to an apartment complex that has 4 people in an apartment instead of 3 people in an apartment. You might say, I'm going to eat out less. I'm going to try and eat at home instead of at the cafeteria. You might even do something drastic and say, wow, I really can't afford a car right now. These decisions are totally up to you. I can't tell you what to do and I can't look at every single budget. But just lining out these numbers puts you in control to make some decisions now that will have an impact on your future and build good habits. In the end, it's all a hugely personal thing, and only you know how comfortable you are with your current budget and expenses. We all wish that we could be positive every single month, that we could make more money than we are spending, that we could graduate college with no debt, but that's not totally feasible. The important thing is to try your best, be deliberate, and have that knowledge so that you're in control. Thanks for watching this episode of College 101 here on the College Guide. Please let me know if you have any questions about budgeting, or if you have something that has worked really well for you. Leave it in the comments so other people can benefit from it too. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.